Sorry about that. So yeah, I had to keep everything clean at the store, everything clean at home, look after the kids, have lunches made, have meals prepared, make sure that everything was running tickety boo, and anyways, I was starting to get really tired and the stress was getting to me, and one thing after another, I felt like my body was giving up some stuff, and I was getting sicker. Anyways, I would say after he had his 3 hour nap, can I just go lay down for half an hour? I just need a rest because I was pulling like some 15-hour days of just running. And he'd say, oh yeah. So I just go and lay down, and he'd call me. We were too busy, he couldn't handle it. And anyways, we hired some people to work the evenings, and we could go home and have dinner with our kids, and sort of have a bit of a family life still. It was hard on the kids in this time, getting up so early and getting on the bus from the store and stuff like that. Anyways, things kept getting worse and worse. And I remember one night um thinking, I just think I need to do this on my own. I don't even love him anymore. I don't even like him anymore. Maybe I loved him for being in my life that long, but I'd been with him since I was 15. And at this point, I was 32. So over half of my life I had spent with somebody that obviously didn't appreciate me. I didn't have any feelings for him anymore. There was nothing really um, in our relationship worth saving. And one night we were watching TV, the kids were in bed, and we were watching TV, and there was this program on about a woman being abused emotionally. And he was yelling at the TV like, that's not right. She deserved it. Why is she saying that's abuse? That's just not right. The man wears the pants. The woman has to obey. And I tried to reason with him and say, in a marriage, both people should have a say, and both people should be able to make decisions together. And he freaked out on me, absolutely started throwing stuff and swearing at me and yelling. Then he went and got in his truck and he left. And I just thought, well, there's my chance. I went to get my kids. The kids were sleeping on the floor at the edge of their bedrooms where they could talk to each other about a foot apart, and they each had a bag packed. Yeah, they were ready to go. So I went and loaded up my kids, and I went to my parents. My dad hid my car in the barn, and we stayed there, and it lasted about 5 days. And I finally decided, like, he had come over to the house in that time, and he had drove past, and he had phoned me, and he just wouldn't leave me alone. I had to come back, had to come back. So finally I decided, you know what? If he's willing to sell the store to become a normal life, I'll go back. So I did. Worst thing ever. Never should have done it. I was out. I could have been started over again by then. So, anyways, I went back. We sold the store. The deal fell through. Yada yada. Everything went kind of crazy, and we moved about an hour away. So from living an hour away, I thought, I guess in the back of my head, I thought, let's move there. And then he is away from home, our home area, and I can just come back. It got way worse up there. He was more controlling. I was more secluded. I had less friends. I was working harder. He was barely working at all. And it was just way worse. And I didn't even last a full year. And I just took the kids on March break and moved to my parents. Were with my parents for 3 months. Anyways, at the beginning of moving to my parents, I met up with a local guy that I was friends with, just casual, and he asked me out, and we started dating. 17 days single, and I started dating this guy. He was fun. Like, he just liked to party and drink, and life was grand, and he went fishing, and he went on holidays to a cottage, and it was just like grand life, you know? Anyways, got stuck in a relationship with him. It got so the kids and I were living in a little farmhouse on our own, and if I wasn't at his house on Friday night, he would come to see what was wrong with me. He would drive by, or he would just show up and say, oh, well, just come to my house. Let's go. I've got the barbecue ready to turn on, and, let's do this weekend. And I'd always do it. I would go. And a year later, ended up that I moved in with him. instead of paying rent where I was renting and living my own life, because he was always making me come down there. I had to be there for dinner every night by then. And I was doing all the cleaning at his house. I was doing most of the grocery shopping. I couldn't afford to live in two houses, so I did it. And my son liked it because it was the village where all of his friends were. And he loved being around his friends. It wasn't as great for my daughter, but at least I had a little more money then, but that didn't last long because then he started piling on the household bills on me. So one after another, he gave me the bills. I ended up getting another job where I made about over double what I was making and got to take over more bills and more bills and more bills. And until suddenly I realized that I was totally controlled again. How did it slip into this and I hadn't even caught on?